Hi, beautiful people. This is Tamika Armstrong, also known as Nappy to Be. First of all, I just want to say my channel for right now is going to be all over the place. If ideas come to me, I'm going to express myself through my vision and my creativity. I'm going to tell my stories in my own way, my life experiences, my journey. And if you read the title, yes, I worked in a very dark work environment, but the red flags was there. I can't say that I was unaware or I ignored them. To be honest, I just needed to work. I had to work. I had bills to pay. Also, now that I know what I know now, I know that it was what it was. So I said in the previous video, hoping that you will follow me on all social media apps. The links is in the description box, Like, comment, and subscribe. Please help your girl out. First red flags when this job, this was back in 2021. I'm trying to lead up to, so just bear with me. I'm going to tell my story the way, and I'm going to tell about my journey, because spiritual warfare is real. It is really, really real. So this was back in April of 2021. That's when I lost my baby brother. And the previous year, my mom. They was months apart, but moving right along. From that month of April, I can't remember exactly, but I know I think the day that I was supposed to start the job was the day that, he passed away. So I called my supervisor, and to let him know, and his reaction on the phone was just not what I wasn't expecting, like a red carpet. He was like, "Are you serious? Are you for real?" So, I had to take that with a grain of salt. So you got to imagine my mindset and what I was going through at the time. Couple of months prior to that, I had to do the unthinkable with my own mother. And then 3-4 months later, my baby brother. So I didn't know how to think. That's something that I wouldn't wish on anyone. That's an experience that you could never, ever come back from. So that was one red flag. It was just his whole demeanor and how he responded to when I'm telling him. That's something that I wouldn't make up. I wouldn't play about losing someone that I loved. But prior to me getting the job, the young lady that I spoke to, who I ended up working in the office with, she is complete darkness. And now I know for sure she's complete darkness. So she was very nice on the phone. I spoke to him that day when I came in. They hired me, and I should have known. I got hired very quickly. That was another red flag. Very quick. I think I got hired on the spot. So, of course, having to pay bills and not having income, it was what? Fight or flight. I had car note and insurance at the time, and my cell phone. I had to help my brother out, because I ended up moving back into the place where my mom was, where my brother, we found him, unalive, and you could say my mom as well. Back to that. So, as I said, the young lady who I ended up working in the office with, that I think that was practicing darkness, is because she was very nice on the phone, went in there, got the job, boom. So I remember speaking to my supervisor, and he was telling me about the job. So he said, "I'll be down there." I think it was a Wednesday, because I can remember I started on a Monday. So he said, "I'll be down there Wednesday to show me the job." So he showed me how to do the job. It was what we were doing was at the time, and I was working for a campaign. We were getting people registered to vote, and I enjoyed doing that. I've been working with elections since I've been 18 years old. So that was something that I was familiar with. And as I said, this was in April. This is the same, I got the job in April. So I didn't start until May 1st. So this was May 1st. And the irony of it, I know this was a journey only for me because I ended up working next to, where I hope I can say this word, next to the funeral home where both my mom and brother were. So you can only imagine how that's playing on my mindset and what I'm thinking at this moment. But I still had to have a means to provide for myself. I knew where they were, and I knew I was going to be taken care of, and I knew they was watching over me. So the guy said, I'll be down there Wednesday to show the job. He did. He showed me the job in one day. So, but I caught on very quickly. So did the job. I'll say that Friday, I should have known something was up with her because her whole demeanor, whole attitude just totally changed. She was like a totally different person. I couldn't really see her eyes because she didn't really look at you face on. So maybe she saw something different in me because she didn't look me, like someone could look you straight in the eye. She didn't do that. So I remember that Friday, before I asked her to come to my office to help me with a problem, I was just in there, just small talking. So we was talking about people that was getting, the famous P loans, triple Ps. So she was saying that she did it for her business. She was telling me about her business. This was just small talk. It was nothing I thought that was just so in depth. So I went back in my office to get ready and start. I think it was like leaving for the day or whatever. So I had to redact some files, and the flash drive that I had wasn't working. So I went to her office and I knocked on her door, and she just flipped mode. I was in here watching her. There's no reason for me to make this up. This is like the third day working with this lady. I was watching the graduation and what do you want? And I'm like, I need either for you to show me what to do with this flash drive, or do we have any more flash drives that doesn't have any data or anything on it? I guess she was so pissed that I had disturbed her from watching graduation. Now, remind you, we're supposed to be working, but I had no problem with that. But I'm saying, if you're the supervisor in the office, what was wrong with me asking you for a flash drive? I'm trying to do work. So that was another red flag. She came in my office and she began to snatch things. First of all, I'm not a child. I'm not a child. And if she didn't want to give me a flash drive, all she had to say was that if I needed another flash drive, that I could go purchase one. The slinging and throwing stuff was unnecessary. And I told her then, don't talk to me like that in a condescending tone. You don't have to throw things. I'm asking you about something to do with the job. So I had a supervisor who had someone over him. It all came down to it. They contacted me from the office, wanted me to write a statement on her. But this was all a setup in the beginning, because now that I look back, they was never on my side. So that's one incident. So I hope I can get everything and convey my message though as thoroughly as I can. So prior to that, I guess she didn't like the fact. So they asked my opinion to write a statement on her, because I let my supervisor know, because I didn't know if that was going to come back as I was being defensive with her. So I let him know. But in terms, I guess he let his boss know. And when they contacted me, they asked me to write a statement on her, which I did. I still have it. So I'm not thinking anything about just going right along. So with this lady, each week it was always something. Always something. If in my office, I had my own things, like, which I have always been. I had my own paper towels, my own hand soap, because she had an office and there was a supply closet, but she could only use it. You couldn't go in her bathroom. She didn't allow that. She always had a key to lock. And then remind you, I didn't have a key to the office. So if I'm in my office doing work and I'm in the group, because there's a lot that I had to do. I had to do data work from a spreadsheet. I had to redact information. And one day out the week, I had to take those forms to the courthouse, um, you know, to the election office. So she was just, it was just really toxic. So we had what you call canvassers working for the campaign, well, for the election. What only thing we was doing was getting people to vote. So when people would come in the office to use the restroom, she always would direct them to my office. No one could ever go in her office because she always had it locked. So she felt that I should supply all the things that is needed in office, like hand soap, paper towels. She felt like all of that I should supply all of that. So I'm complaining to the supervisor, letting him know, like, hey, I'm not gonna be in here, and I didn't have a problem with them using the restroom. I just didn't want to have the supplies. So finally she did bring, like, the utensils and things that is needed in the bathroom. She brought it over. So that was one incident. And like I said, I was in my office one day working, trying to get trying to get all this stuff together. She had no respect because she never knocked on the door. She just walked in. And when I complained to the supervisor, she had a problem with it. Then, as I stated before in the previous video, I didn't have a key to the office. So I would get to work early because where my mom lived at the time was very, very close to the office. And plus, I worked next door to the office at the funeral home where both my mom and my brother were. That didn't scare me. So every morning when I would come, I guess this was the part where she was trying to phase me out and she was setting me up. Mornings I would come, it would be 30 minutes. I would sit, I would knock on the door, I would call her. Sometimes she would be in the office asleep. I would call the supervisor. What else am I supposed to do? I'm sitting there waiting to go in the office to do work and I don't have a key. So how else am I going to get in there? So I'm complaining to the supervisor thinking that I'm covering myself, but it wasn't that. So she didn't want me using her side. Now, our office was like more like an apartment. Like you have one side over there, two sides. I had my office and bathroom and she had her office in the restroom. There was another back room. There was no dividers, but there was doors to enter both entrances because it was like an office building. There was no dividers. So like I said, I would wait mornings waiting for her to open the door, or sometimes I wait for her to get there. I'm calling my supervisor, letting him know, hey, I couldn't get in. So this is why this isn't started, because sometimes they would have meetings. So I don't know what he thought I could do, like break in the office. If he would get, I noticed he got a little bit upset because I couldn't be in the office during a meeting, but how am I gonna be in the office when I couldn't get in? And they knew that I did not have a key. So this one particular morning that kind of set it off with her, that I really saw that different side of her. I pulled up, kept calling. It was about 30 minutes to an hour. She never opened the door. I feel that she was in there asleep. So finally, after this long time, she got up and she came. And she was like, she kept telling me over and over she was gonna get a key. She never did. So she called her boss to make it seem like I was late, and she had already informed me that she would, but that never happened. So she was trying to work against me in that way. And then the time that I came in on her side of the door, she went belligerent. She had signs, which, I don't have no problem with that because I pray also. She had signs above her door, all type of things. And once I came in on her side of the door that morning, because my side was locked, I don't have a key to get in. she started getting oil and putting all over the wall. She put it all on the fax machine, on the doorknobs, on the side of the bathroom that I was in. She just was wiping everything down with this oil, but it did not stop me. I still kept going. Nothing deterred me because I knew I had a job to do. But the irony of it, I never would eat anything that she would bring to the office. Never. I had my own food. And if I brought food, which I always have done, if I went to run an errand, went somewhere, I would take my food with me. It was something about her I cannot explain. I felt that with her. I would take my food with me. I never left my food in there with her. And if I left something overnight, like it had to be a soda can or something that I know that the pop had, and I rarely did that. If so, I would just pour it out. I just did not trust her from the beginning because now I know what I know. She told me of someone who I know, their sister, and she said that she worked with them. And when she said who they were, I was just surprised that they were friends. But now I know why, because they all practice darkness. And yes, I went down the rabbit hole because she mentioned where she used to work. And I asked this person and they explained to me, yes, that she practiced darkness and with demons. And before, and I want to say the irony of it, I found out I came there in May. And from what I can look on the spreadsheet, because you have to put your name when you doing redaction or Excel, there had been from January, what I could count from January up until May, there had been at least 15 people or 12 to 15 people that had did that job that I was doing. That's a lot of people. That's a huge turnover. So the common denominator was her. I didn't know this until after I got the job. And the other irony is my supervisor, who I was complaining to, thinking that I was covering myself and protecting me, him and her was the best of friends. So what I was telling him, he was telling her, and she was flipping it. She started playing this. I don't know what type of music it was. It was very, very, very dark. I had a recording of it. It was very dark. You could always hear her in there beating on things. I mean, it was just, it was like I hope I can say this word. It's like a satanic ritual. I've heard that and seen it before because I had a neighbor when I was a little girl. But I guess I know of darkness. I don't practice or believe in it. I know it does exist. And I guess this was the most that I really, really paid attention to it because of the things. It wasn't hidden. She let it be known. So my supervisor and her were friends. And I'm thinking I'm covering my back. So the day, and she also had an assistant. And from May, I worked from May up until September. There had been at least 6 to 7 people that she had as assistants that helped her in that job. So they trained me to do a job to find mistakes. And when I found mistakes, I guess on their favorites, that wasn't a good thing because this person kept repeating and making the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So what was I supposed to do? If you train me to do a job to find mistakes and to basically keep the records right, and remind you now, we're doing election. This is voting. So there couldn't be room for mistakes. But I guess, like I said, it was someone that was one of her favorites. She didn't like the fact that I was bringing them. For an example, if they getting people to sign up to vote and you have register cards, they was turning in the same register card multiple times, same person. That is a problem. That means that's That's fraud. You keep the same. I could see if it was different people turning in the same person name, but this was the same person turning in the same person name. That means you was doing this. So I was catching the mistakes and I was letting them know, which I didn't have, I'm doing a job. That was not good. Because at the time, before I could figure it out, I didn't know that her and my supervisor was friends. And what I was telling him, he was telling her. Remind you now, they asked me in the beginning to write a letter about her behavior and how she was acting and the things that she was doing, which they already knew because, like I said, from what I can tell from the spreadsheet from January up until May, there was at least 12 to 15 people. So you already know there was a problem and the common denominator was her. So, I tried to, and like I said, I didn't have a problem with people coming in my office. But as young ladies, I felt like everyone should clean up behind themselves. And I felt like that wasn't part of my job description. I'll clean up behind me, but I wasn't going to clean up behind grown women that could just simply put things in the trash, And then there was another incident that I knew that she was like with darkness. She always tried to call me out on mistakes or whatever. So, like I said, the person that I kept finding mistakes on, I didn't know that he was a good friend of hers. So she called my supervisor and told him that I was, I guess, trying to set him up. How could I set him up when he was in the field collecting information, but bringing it back to me and it's the same information that you brought that was like 3-4 a week or two ago, the same people, or sometime it could have been the day before. He was repeating, it was the same cycle. So she was, and I'm saying she was playing this music I had never heard. She was always in there beating on something. She was putting oil and stuff everywhere. She tried to get me to eat things that she brought. I was never going to do that. And like I said, if I had something in our little small refrigerator, I took it with me. I kept my side neat and tidy. I didn't bother her side. I just did my job, what I was supposed to do, and I left. So in the end, when things, I guess, and one of the young ladies who know her said, you lasted longer than anybody. So the day that I guess they officially say they fired me, I was sitting in my office. I had done my work. I did everything I was supposed to do. There wasn't an issue with my work. The issue that she made it seem like she had a complaint with me, which was a bunch of crap, because they knew in the beginning that this lady was already a problem. Remind you now, I didn't have a key to the office. Not one key. So I couldn't come in the office unless she was already there. So this particular day, she was beating and playing the music and just beating and playing the music. She had turned it up extra loud, and I'm like, okay, like what's going on? It was getting more intense, I'll say. And I think if I hadn't been gone that day, I think she was going to amp it up a little bit further. So this day that I guess she was setting me up to get out of there, remind you now, I did not have a key. She didn't lock herself out, I don't think. I think she really had those keys in her pocket. So she knew that when I came into that job, I went in my area and I went in my office and I did my work. Yes, we talk on the phone, but my work was always done. There was never a problem with my work. She was I didn't hear her. So remind you now, she was already previously beaten on something in her office and playing this loud music. It just sounded it was just really sadistic music. So I didn't think anything of it. So when she began knocking, I guess this was the setup. When she began knocking on the door, she was beating on the door. So I'm thinking that's what she was already in there doing. I didn't pay any attention because this was like on a regular basis. So my office, the office itself had what you call bars on the windows. So I guess she figured since she couldn't get me to come to the door, she came around in my office and she began to bam on the door, like just bamming, bamming. Can you open the front door? I'm like saying to myself, you always keep the keys on you, so you don't have the keys? So I get up and open the door. She went ballistic. She called my supervisor and the supervisor over him. And apparently, whatever story she told them, she must have told them that I locked her out. Why would I lock her out? No one, make that make sense. If she had keys and she's the only one with the keys, why would I lock her out when we didn't even conversate like that? We had a work environment only. Because I saw things in her that I knew that I didn't want to have beyond past that job. At 5, it was done. So whatever she told them, see, apparently when I was complaining to my supervisor, he was telling her and they was flipping it. So whatever she told them, they calling me, trying to find out why did I said I never locked. This lady had got so belligerent in his office, went to yelling and talking crazy. So I told them, hey, if she don't calm down, I was going to call the police because I'm in a back office by myself. And this lady is in the front going off for no reason because I feel like she had the keys in her pocket and she locked the door. She locked her own self out. See, this was all trying to get me out of there. So they calling me, asking me, why did I do this? And you need to calm down. There's no reason for you. I said, not if she don't calm down. I said, I'm in here by myself. I said, and I feel threatened. They said I could go ahead and leave. What was I supposed to do? I wasn't going to argue. This was on a Friday, I want to say. I got home. And I kind of already knew. I was like, I already know. There was no point. I had already made up in my mind. I was going to try and work for a little bit longer. But the job itself was coming to an end because we was trying to get people registered. So, and I think she already had someone in place. When you always have another person come on the job asking you about your job, that was probably my replacement. I didn't care. I was done at that moment. So when I got home, my supervisor, her supervisor, and the regional lady, they called. They didn't ask me any questions. The way that lady was talking to me was so unprofessional. So apparently they took her word. They didn't really want to hear what I had to say. My supervisor didn't say a word on the phone. I was like, okay. I was so glad. It felt like something had lifted off of me. And I was so glad. Yes, I missed the money. I enjoyed having it because I was able to get the things that I wanted. Because as I said, no matter what, I always have everything that I need. But a fun story back to that was in 2021. In 2024, I got a text message from my supervisor's boss asking me about coming back to work. Like, I told him never contact me ever again. It's a whole lot to that. And if I think of anything else, that's just some of the things. It was very, very toxic, but I just wanted to piggyback on that. Spiritual warfare is real. You have to stay prayed up. And I know that is the only thing that saved me was praying. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. I didn't care about losing that job. That wasn't permanent anyway. And to have to deal with that, no. Never give up. Never let anyone write your story for you. Follow your own goals, dreams, and aspirations. And like I said, I'm going to keep going. I'm never going to stop. I'm never giving up on me. So I hope you beautiful people have a great day, and peace out.